Guys, this is huge news. This is the signal we've been waiting for so long. On Douyin, we can finally type the 3 words Yu Menglong. Is this just an oversight from the censorship machine? Or could there be an unseen political power struggle quietly shifting behind the scenes? But beneath this good news, something else terrifying has happened. Actress Chen Duling, a close friend of the late Yu Menglong, seems to be in a truly bad situation. The latest news is that Chen Duling's studio has quietly deleted her December scheduled post. What does this mean? Is this some kind of early warning? And will Hu Ge be next? Hi guys, Sean here. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe, as always. Before we dive into today's discussion, I want to be a little honest with you. For the past few days, I've been struggling quite a bit with technical issues on my content creation gear. There was an error that kind of messed up the production process, and honestly, it's been pretty stressful. You might have noticed that in yesterday's video, there was a section where the audio disappeared for about 11 seconds. I had checked it beforehand, but for some reason, after it was uploaded, it happened anyway. So, I sincerely apologize for that. But even in the middle of all this, there's one topic that just feels like it can't be delayed. Because the more I look into it, the more I realize this isn't an ordinary case. Because you never know how deep this hole goes.
回馈之下，雨蒙龙不差，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
Let's discuss the most pressing situation first. You might remember not long ago, the very famous American paranormal expert, Candy Starr, once issued a very specific warning. She said that Chen Duling is currently in great danger, even mentioning the detail that she was forced to swallow medication in an art gallery. And she predicted that Chen Duling might suffer a terrible fate around December 5th, being made into some kind of sacrifice. When these claims first emerged, the internet went crazy, perhaps to refute the rumors, or maybe to calm the fans. Chen Duling's studio immediately released a schedule on December 1st, which clearly stated that she would be participating in public events in Beijing on December 16th, 19th, and 23rd. At the time, everyone thought as long as she could show up on time, the rumors about her being murdered or imprisoned would automatically be disproved, right? But what happened? Recently, sharp-eyed netizens rechecked Chen Duling's Weibo. They discovered that the schedule list, which was like a lifeline, was no longer there. It had been deleted. This is simply too abnormal. If the goal was to refute the rumors, you should have pinned that schedule. Why delete it? Is it because she absolutely cannot attend anymore? The comment sections are now filled with worry and fear. One netizen stated that they still saw it a few days ago, but when checking the event calendar today, it had already been removed. This inevitably raises suspicion. Others also mentioned Dilraba Dilmurat and said that it feels like these perpetrators are constantly committing crimes and completely disregard outside opinion. This is a man-eating environment. Although Chen Duling's account recently posted an update on Weibo, netizens immediately compared the photos and pointed out that it was likely a body double or old photos uploaded by the staff. Doesn't this operation where they only show text without the person visible remind you of the strange operations that occurred after the Yu Menglong incident? The American paranormal expert Deborah even mentioned in her psychic communication in late November that Chen Duling was being forced to fight someone with the number 100 and that her situation was extremely dire.
回馈之下，雨蒙龙不差，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
The paranormal expert Deborah also revealed that the perpetrators even stated that the next victim would be someone with the surname Hu. This inevitably leads people to speculate. Could the next victim be Hu Ge? Actually, news about Hu Ge's situation not being good has been circulating widely online for quite some time. Recently, photos of his appearance on the set of the 3D film Lu shocked netizens, prompting them to exclaim, "Why has he aged so drastically?" In the photos, the wrinkles on his forehead were deep and dense, the muscles across his face had sagged severely, and his eye bags and dark circles were so bad that he suddenly looked decades older. This clearly wasn't just ordinary filming exhaustion. This was a kind of draining of energy and spirit radiating from within. Why would this happen? There are rumors suggesting that after Yu Menglong passed away, Hu Ge was one of the few people in the entertainment industry brave enough to speak out privately for justice. However, it was precisely this disobedience that caused him to be targeted. Someone discovered that a mysterious man accompanying Hu Ge during a recent event was actually the same man who had previously appeared next to Yu Menglong when he was alive. What does this mean? Netizens immediately stated that this proves the man's job is that of an undercover officer specifically tasked with monitoring certain individuals. In other words, even though Hu Ge can still go out to promote his movie, he might not have any freedom at all. The fortune teller Lin Hangkun performed a Kimen Dunjia reading on this matter. He interpreted that Hu Ge is currently in a state where his positive energy is being suppressed and the truth he wants to convey is being silenced. His entire aura indicates that he is being closely monitored and is forbidden from moving or speaking carelessly. The fortune teller pointed out that the force suppressing Hu Ge is not one person, but a large group that holds administrative power and also employs underground methods. They come from the system, from the red elite circles. They are not attacking Hu Ge directly, but through intimidation, interrogation, and psychological pressure that has placed Hu Ge in a state of extreme psychological fear. This is why he suddenly looks a dozen years older. Now, let's go back and discuss Yu Menglong. On December 7th, a netizen first shared the news on the X platform. They stated that there was good news. Finally, on Douyin, they could type the 3 characters of the name Yu Menglong. You heard correctly. For the past several months, this name, along with images of small fish and even accounts related to selling or fishing, had been blocked on Douyin, as if typing those 3 characters was a major offense. However, the blockade line has now been torn open. Many netizens rushed to the comment sections to test it out. Some typed Yu Menglong, and the comment was successfully posted. Some commented with tears saying, "I'm so happy, I can finally use his name. And today, I can finally upload a picture of his face." Is this merely an oversight by the censorship machine? Or is there an unseen political game silently changing its direction behind the scenes? A netizen discovered a shocking pattern. From September to November this year, several official Chinese government media accounts such as the Zhenjiang Ecology and Environment Bureau, the China Meteorological Administration, the People's Science Channel, and even the Shishi National Wetland Park very strangely inserted the 3 characters of Yu Menglong's name into their official Weibo posts. Please listen to these statements. On September 30th, the Zhenjiang Environmental Protection Bureau said, "Misty towers and pavilions are hidden amidst the Menglong." On October 30th, the Meteorological Bureau said, "Among the Menglong, touching the fusion of history and the present." On November 21st, the People's Science Channel said, "May you clearly see the direction amidst the Menglong." On November 25th, the official Weibo of Shishi National Wetland Park posted, "The heavy mist is like sand. Qinglong Wooden Bridge is hidden amidst the Menglong." Is this a coincidence? Netizens analyze that this is very likely a signal deliberately released by the anti-XI factions media within the system. In the tightly controlled Chinese propaganda system, words are never written carelessly. This is a way to strike the Xi faction, leveraging the Yu Menglong case to stage a power struggle. They might not genuinely want to defend Yu Menglong, but they need this case as a weapon to attack their opponents. Just think about it. Who was on the list of 17 people rumored to be at the party on the day Yu Menglong met his fate? Allegedly, it included Xi Jinping's younger brother, Xi Yuanping, as well as the illegitimate son of Xi Jinping's trusted confidant, Kai Chi. That's why Douyin has now lifted the ban on Yu Menglong's name. Does this mean the opposition forces have gained the upper hand? Or is it just a temporary concession to appease public anger? One netizen consciously stated, "Let's hope this is permanent and not just a temporary easing of restrictions." Regardless, the fact that this name can finally be typed is the result of the persistence of ordinary people like us. This is a crack, a loophole successfully created little by everyone's efforts to rush the tower, even though Yu Menglong has been gone for almost 3 months. However, the investigation into the truth behind his death has never stopped. Recently, a tech-savvy netizen reanalyzed a photo that Yu Menglong uploaded on the 12th of April 2025. At first glance, the photo looked ordinary, but after being zoomed in and having the lighting adjusted, the reflection in his eyes, referred to as the compound image, was horrifying. The netizen analyzed that the reflections in his left and right eyes showed an indoor space, similar to a basement. Upon closer inspection, there appear to be 3 people in his left eye. The leftmost person is wearing a blue shirt and black pants, kneeling on the floor with their hands tied behind their back. The person in the middle is wearing all white. And another person is dressed entirely in black. The same 3 people are also visible in his right eye, but a large black stain, which looks like a pool of blood, appears on the floor. This photo is believed to show the situation he or someone else was in at the time, specifically someone being held captive in a basement and undergoing extreme treatment. This aligns very well with the information communicated by the psychic Candace. Psychic Candace stated, Yu Menglong's spirit mentioned that there are many secret places used to detain people, places that are dark, damp, and resemble underground bunkers. You even need an alarm to enter them. Where are these places located? The locations circulating online include places connected to the Poly Group, a residence in Shanglin City, Linqui Road in Beijing's Chaoyang district, and the basement of a certain art museum. Speaking of the Poly Group, friends who understand Chinese politics know that it is the headquarters of the CCP's princelings, or crown princes. Poly is part of the Zheng Qinghong family's sphere of influence, with Zheng Baobao being the boss behind the scenes. Netizens also mentioned Vanke Real Estate, saying it is the Xi family's white glove a proxy, or front company. Regardless of whether it's the Xi faction or the Jiang faction, referring to the faction led by Jiang Zemin, these ruling elite groups are nothing but wolves in sheep's clothing in the eyes of ordinary citizens. They wield absolute power, treating young lives like toys or even as sacrificial offerings to prolong their own lives. The details mentioned by Lin Mei are even more cruel. They lure and trap young students, individuals in their teenage years, and are even involved in organ trafficking and selling dark web videos. It's said that the number of victims involved in this whole thing reaches into the thousands. Hearing all this, you might feel that it sounds too much like a movie plot. But just look at Huxin Yuan and the chained woman case. In that magical land, the reality is often far more brutal than any movie.
睽睽之下，于朦胧不擦，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
Yu Menglong's passing was the domino that finally fell. Now, the entire entertainment industry in mainland China is suffering through an unprecedented, brutal winter. Li Tingzhe, the first actor who dared to defend Yu Menglong, recently dropped a video claiming that an industry-wide internet boycott is now underway and starting to bite. According to the numbers, 65% of actors won't land a single role in 2025. Tingzhe thinks the real number is closer to 80%. What used to be astronomical average actor, salaries have now crashed, hitting an all-time low of just 1%. Cinemas are an even sorrier sight. When Li Tingzhe went to the movies, he found he was the only person there. He had the entire theater to himself. He predicts that at this rate, half of China's cinemas will shut down.
演艺圈再这么下去啊，真得干活。
Li Tingzhe's comment section was immediately flooded with countless messages from netizens. Bring back Yu Menglong. And only then will we be willing to spend our money on the entertainment industry. If you choose silence, we will be even louder in our silence. We won't go to the cinema, We won't buy any merchandise. You took away a person this good, so we will take away your entire entertainment industry. This is a silent protest. People are simply refusing to pay for this filthy circle anymore. And the resistance isn't just happening online. In Shanghai, a brave netizen spray-painted a banner onto their car body that read, "Fighting for justice and the best young man in the world, Yu Menglong." They drove this vehicle right through Shanghai's bustling streets. What incredible, fearless courage! A netizen also shared that when they went to the post office to mail a letter demanding justice for Yu Menglong, the staff told them that so many people were currently mailing letters to Beijing that the post office was almost out of stamps. This netizen had sent letters from that post office 8 times, and this was the first time a staff member had ever mentioned it. This is hope. Although the authorities are arresting people, inviting them for tea, and threatening families, they can't silence everyone. I want to show you a clip. This is the scene from the 21st of September, 2024, after Yu Menglong's performance in Beijing, where he was signing autographs for fans by the backstage entrance. It was a really cold day. While signing autographs, he gently told his fans, "You all worked hard. It's freezing out here. Please hurry home, okay? Thank you everyone, and travel safely." When he heard that some fans had traveled from out of town, he was already about to leave, but he turned right back around and kept signing. He was always like that, surrounded by crowds, yet constantly worried about disappointing his fans, always trying his best to fulfill their wishes. A warm, kind, and pure soul like him left this world a year later in the most tragic way possible. Meanwhile, those high-ranking officials with blood on their hands are still clinking glasses at banquets, plotting who their next victim will be. Will it be Chen Duling? Will it be Hu Ge? Or perhaps just another ordinary child among us? And yet, they decided to unblock his name on Douyin. This is a small victory, but it is far from enough. The truth has still not come to light, and the murderers are still walking free. We must never forget Yu Menglong, because forgetting him means allowing evil to persist. What do you think Chen Duling deleting her schedule signifies? And what do you think is behind the change in Huga? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Okay guys, that's all from me today. Thank you for watching until the end, and I apologize if there were any shortcomings or mistakes in my wording. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification, because if you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the same thing I am.